Avensa, Aerovías Venezolanas Sociedad Anonima, was a Venezuelan airline headquartered in Caracas. It is in the process of financial restructuring, after it went into bankruptcy due to poor management in 2002. It operated from its hub at Simon Bolivar International Airport in Maiquetía. Technically, Avensa still exists, with a single Embraer EMB 120 Brasilia aircraft keeping the name alive. But for all intents and purposes the company is defunct. Around Venezuela's airports, Avensa relics can be seen everywhere. Old check-in signs, rusted luggage carts, derelict airplane stairways. The name still visible through cracked blue paint around Venezuela's airports. History. Avensa was created on May 13, 1943, as a cargo airline by the Venezuelan businessman Andrés Bolton Pietri and Pan American World Airways. Its first flights occurred in December 1943, flying cargo to Venezuela's oil-rich Caracas region with Ford Tree motors and Stinson Reliance. By 1944, Avensa had started passenger flights with Lockheed 10A twins. After World War II, DC-3 Dakotas were added to the fleet. These were the backbone of the fleet until 1955, when Convair 340 twins were introduced for a new service to Miami. Avensa had set up an extensive domestic route network by the beginning of the 1960s. The airline also flew internationally to Miami, Aruba, Jamaica and New Orleans. Avensa merged its international routes with the international routes of LAV, Aeropostal, and the resulting network was the basis for a new international Venezuelan airline called Viasa, in which Avensa had a 45% holding. Avensa purchased jet equipment in the form of a single-seat Caravelle jet in 1964. Turboprop aircraft were introduced in 1966 when the airline purchased Convair 580s. Douglas DC-9s were also introduced to give the airline a more competitive edge. Pan Am sold its 30% holding of Avensa to the Venezuelan government in 1976, making it completely state-owned. Later, Avensa introduced Boeing 727-100 and 727-200 jets. Two Boeing 737-200s were later introduced. A fleet renewal program was set in motion at the end of the 1980s and new Boeing 737-300s were added. Boeing 757s were also introduced as part of the renewal program. These new aircraft were returned during the 1990s when Avensa fell into financial difficulties and had to make cutbacks. This left the fleet with 11 aging Boeing 727s, 5 Douglas DC-9s and 2 Boeing 737-200s at the end of the 1990s. Avensa took over many of the international routes formerly flown by Viasa after that airline collapsed in 1997. Avensa operated a smaller low-cost airline called Avensa, which operated mainly Boeing 727 aircraft. Avensa is currently serving only a domestic network of 3 cities as it attempts to restructure, due to continuing financial difficulties. At one time it had its headquarters in the now Caracas city government-owned Torre El Chorro in Caracas, and in the Torre Humboldt complex in East Caracas. Destinations. This is the list of places to which Avensa flew. Domestic: Barcelona, Barquisimeto, Caracas, Carapano, Ciudad Bolívar, Cumana, La Fría, Las Piedras, Maturín, Mérida, Palomar, Puerto Ordaz, San Antonio del Táchira, Santa Bárbara del Zulia, Valencia, Valera, Maracaibo, Santo Tomé, International, Aruba, Bogotá, Colombia, Bonaire, Curaçao, Lima, Peru, Lisbon, Portugal, Madrid, Spain, Medellín, Colombia, Mexico City, Mexico, Miami, USA, Milan, Italy, New York, USA, Oporto, Portugal, Panama City, Panama, Quito, Ecuador, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Rome, Italy, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Tenerife, Spain. Fleet. Before ceasing operations, Avensa had a fleet of Douglas DC-9, DC-10, Boeing 727 and 737-200 aircraft. After ceasing operations, two Boeing 727-200 were leased to Santa Barbara Airlines, as well as both DC-10s. The rest of the fleet was derelict and scrapped in 2007. Their fleet comprised incidents and accidents. On 25 February 1962, a Fairchild F-27 crashed into a mountain on departure from Margarita Island, with 23 on board killed. On 21 March 1968, an Avensa Convair CV-440 was hijacked to Cuba by 3 passengers. On the 22nd of December 1974, Avensa Flight 358 Douglas DC-9-14 crashed in Maturín, Venezuela, shortly after takeoff due to a double-engine failure. 77 passengers and crew were killed. The 11th of March 1983, a Douglas DC-9 crashed at Barquisimeto Airport. 22 passengers and 1 crew were killed. Avensa, Spanish, Avensa, Archive, Avensa in Airliners. Net.